Keanu held onto the handlebars of his motorcycle tightly, feeling the small weight of Lucas gripping his jacket from behind. The boy's hands were shaking and he was still trembling, but at least he was holding on. Keanu's heart went out to the little guy. The road was quiet and there weren't many cars, but Keanu knew he had to stay careful. The last thing he wanted was for Lucas to be put in danger again. The sun was sinking lower in the sky, casting long shadows on the highway as they rode away from the city. The faint hum of the motorcycle engine was the only sound they could hear, except for the occasional whoosh of a passing car. The traffic was light, but Keanu didn't feel safe. He had to get Lucas somewhere safe as soon as possible. His mind raced, thinking about the man in the black car, the one who had tried to grab Lucas. It wasn't just a random thing. Someone was out there trying to hurt kids, and Keanu wasn't about to let that happen to this boy. He had to make sure Lucas was protected, and that meant getting him away from Boulder Highway where no one seemed to be noticing the dangers. Keanu glanced behind them once more, his eyes scanning the road for any sign of the black car. It could still be out there, waiting for the perfect moment to strike again. Lucas was so small and fragile, and the thought of him being alone again with that man made Keanu's stomach tighten. He needed to get him to safety. "You doing okay back there, buddy?" Keanu called out over the roar of the engine. Lucas didn't answer right away, but Keanu could feel him still clinging to his jacket, his tiny fingers digging into the fabric. Keanu shifted slightly on the motorcycle, making sure Lucas was still holding on. Lucas's breath was shallow, and Keanu could hear the boy's soft sobs behind him. Keanu's chest tightened. He wanted to make everything better, but the only thing he could do right now was get Lucas somewhere safe, where he could call the police. The road stretched out in front of them, and Keanu's mind raced with thoughts of what could be waiting ahead. He didn't know where the man in the black car had gone, but Keanu couldn't take any chances. He couldn't just keep riding along and hope that the man wasn't still around. He had to find somewhere to stop, somewhere to regroup and figure out what to do next. Keanu kept his eyes on the road, scanning for any signs of danger. He spotted a small gas station up ahead, a place that looked quiet and isolated, but also the kind of place that would be safer than being out in the open. He quickly turned the motorcycle toward it, slowing down just a bit as they approached. The gas station was dimly lit, and there weren't any cars parked outside. It didn't seem like there was much going on, but Keanu felt a little bit of relief. At least it was somewhere they could stop and figure out their next move without being out in the open on the highway. When they pulled up to the gas station, Keanu parked the motorcycle under a light, making sure they weren't visible from the road. He didn't want anyone to see them or follow them. The headlights of passing cars still cut through the night, but the gas station felt like a small island of safety. Keanu turned off the engine and slowly helped Lucas get off the motorcycle. The boy was still holding on tightly to Keanu's jacket, but he seemed a little bit calmer now that they had stopped. Keanu crouched down to Lucas's level, looking into the boy's wide eyes. "Stay here, buddy," Keanu said gently. "I'm going to call the police and tell them about the man in the black car. They'll send help." Lucas nodded slowly, his small face still etched with fear. Keanu could tell the boy was exhausted, both from the fear and the long ride. Keanu gave him a small reassuring smile, but he knew it wasn't enough to make everything better. They both needed to be sure that they were safe, and that meant calling the police and getting help as soon as possible. Keanu took out his phone and dialed 911, his heart pounding as he waited for someone to answer. It felt like forever before the line finally clicked, and a calm voice picked up on the other end. 911, what is your emergency? The operator asked. Keanu quickly explained the situation, telling the operator about the man who had tried to grab Lucas, and how they were now at the gas station. He told them everything he could remember, and the operator reassured him that help was on the way. "They'll be there soon," the operator said. "Just stay where you are and keep the child safe." Keanu thanked the operator and hung up, then turned back to Lucas. The boy was still standing by the motorcycle, clutching the jacket, but now there was a small bit of hope in his eyes. "They're coming, buddy," Keanu said softly, his voice steady but warm. "Everything's going to be okay now. The police will be here soon, and they'll make sure the man who tried to take you doesn't hurt anyone else." Lucas didn't say anything at first, but his eyes started to clear a little, and he seemed to relax just a tiny bit. Keanu could see that the boy still wasn't sure, still not completely convinced that everything would be okay. But Keanu knew he had to be strong for both of them. Keanu stood next to Lucas, his arms crossed loosely over his chest as they waited. The sound of passing cars on the highway grew softer, and the air felt cooler as the night settled in. Keanu's thoughts kept drifting back to the man in the black car. Where was he now? Was he still looking for Lucas? Keanu couldn't shake the feeling that they weren't out of danger yet, but he had to stay calm. The police would be there soon and they would handle everything. Lucas kept looking down the road, his little face tight with worry. Keanu didn't know what to say to make everything better. He just stayed by Lucas's side, making sure the boy felt safe, even if just for a moment. After what felt like a long time, the sound of sirens pierced the air. Keanu's heart gave a small leap. He turned to Lucas and smiled. "It's them, buddy. They're here to help." Lucas looked up, his face still scared but now showing a glimmer of hope. Keanu reached down and patted his shoulder gently. He was relieved that they had made it this far, and even more relieved that help had arrived. The police car pulled up next to them and 2 officers got out. Keanu explained everything again, and the officers immediately started to take control of the situation. They took Lucas aside, talking to him gently while Keanu stayed close by, watching over the boy. Keanu felt a weight lift from his chest. They were safe now. The police were going to take care of the rest. Lucas would be all right. He had done everything he could to help. As the officers worked, Keanu watched the night sky above them, the stars twinkling like little beacons of hope. Everything had happened so quickly, but in the end they had made it. And for that, Keanu was grateful. He knew the road ahead wouldn't always be easy, but for tonight, they were safe. Keanu asked, keeping his voice steady and reassuring. Lucas gave a small nod, though his grip on Keanu's jacket remained tight. "Yeah," he murmured softly. Keanu glanced quickly at the side mirror. There was no black car in sight, but his instincts told him they shouldn't stay on the road for long. He sped up slightly, scanning the area for a safe place to pull over. Up ahead, he spotted a gas station, an older one with a small convenience store attached. The parking lot had a few cars with customers going in and out. It looked like a good place to stop. Keanu slowed down and pulled into the lot, parking near the gas pumps. "Let's take a break here," Keanu said, cutting the engine. Lucas let out a small breath, as if relieved to stop moving. Keanu helped him off the bike, placing a reassuring hand on the boy's shoulder as he looked around. The place seemed calm for now, but he needed to call the police. Reaching into his jacket pocket, Keanu pulled out his phone and quickly dialed. As the phone rang, he knelt beside Lucas. "Do you know your home phone number, or your mom or dad's number?" Keanu asked gently. Lucas thought for a moment before nodding. "I know my mom's." Before Keanu could ask him to say it, the call connected. 911, what's your emergency? The dispatcher asked. Keanu kept his voice firm but calm. "Hey, my name is Keanu Reeves. I'm on Boulder Highway, stopped at a gas station with a little boy named Lucas. He was alone on the road, and he said a man in a black car tried to take him. I think you need to send someone here." There was a brief silence on the other end. "Wait, did you say Keanu Reeves, the actor?" Keanu closed his eyes for a second, not wanting to get distracted. "Yeah, but that's not important right now. We need help here." The dispatcher quickly regained focus. "Understood, Mr. Reeves. We're sending a unit to your location. Can you stay with the child and make sure he remains safe until officers arrive?" "Yes, I've got him. We'll wait inside the store," Keanu replied. "All right, officers will be there shortly," the dispatcher said before hanging up. Keanu put his phone away. "The police are coming, buddy. You're safe now." Lucas nodded slowly, but his eyes still held fear. Keanu could tell that the boy needed something to calm him down. "You want some juice? Maybe a snack?" Keanu asked. Lucas hesitated, then whispered, "Okay." Keanu gave him a small smile and ruffled his messy blonde hair. "All right, my treat. Let's go." They walked into the convenience store. The place was bright and smelled like fresh coffee. A cashier stood behind the counter, and he glanced at Keanu for a moment with a flicker of recognition in his eyes, but he said nothing, which Keanu appreciated. He led Lucas to the refrigerator section and pulled out an orange juice. "This one good?" Keanu asked. Lucas nodded, so Keanu grabbed a pack of cookies as well. He carried both to the counter. The cashier rang up the items and smiled politely. "Nice bike you've got out there." Keanu returned the smile. "Thanks, man." Keanu paid and handed Lucas the juice and cookies. Lucas took them quietly, saying, "Thank you." As they stepped back outside, Keanu instinctively glanced toward the highway. Everything seemed normal, but his instincts told him to stay on high alert. Then a black car passed by on the road. It wasn't too slow or too fast, just blending into the traffic. Keanu looked down at Lucas, and the boy's small shoulders stiffened. Lucas quickly looked away, clearly uneasy. Keanu wasn't sure if it was the same car, but he couldn't ignore the boy's reaction. Keanu kept his eyes on the road as the black car disappeared into the flow of traffic. Was it just a coincidence, or was it a real danger? Keanu wasn't sure, but he trusted his instincts. He turned to Lucas. "Hey, big guy, was that the car?" Lucas hesitated, biting his lip. After a few seconds, he slowly shook his head. It looks like it, but I don't know, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Keanu realized the boy was trying to be brave, but the fear was still there. Keanu bent down to be at eye level with Lucas. Listen, the police are already on their way. You're safe now. And when they get here, we're going to figure everything out together, okay? Keanu reassured him. Lucas nodded but didn't say anything. He just bit into a cookie, trying to calm down. Keanu stayed close, waiting. It wasn't long before the flashing red and blue lights of a police car reflected off the convenience store windows. The police cruiser pulled into the parking lot, and two officers stepped out, a man with gray hair and a stern expression and a woman with brown hair in a bun. Keanu stood up and placed his hand on Lucas's shoulder. There they are. Let's go, big guy. Lucas looked nervous but followed Keanu to the cruiser. The gray-haired officer, who looked serious, spoke first. Keanu Reeves? Keanu nodded. That's me. Thanks for coming so quickly. The female officer, Officer Davis, bent down to look at Lucas. Hi, sweetheart. I'm Officer Davis. Your name is Lucas, right? Lucas hesitated, but he gave a slight nod. Officer Davis smiled at him, trying to make him feel more comfortable. Can you tell me what happened, Lucas? She asked gently. Lucas looked up at Keanu for support. Keanu gave him a slight nod of encouragement, and finally the boy spoke up. I was riding my bike, Lucas said, his voice shaking a little. Then a black car stopped, and the man opened the door and told me to get in, but I ran. The gray-haired officer quickly jotted down some notes. Did you see what the man looked like? Can you remember anything? Lucas shook his head. He was wearing a cap and sunglasses. I didn't see his face. Officer Davis turned to Keanu. Did you see any suspicious cars around here? Keanu pointed to the road. A black car passed by a few minutes ago. I'm not sure if it's the same one, but Lucas tensed up when he saw it. The officers exchanged a quick glance, processing the information. We've had some strange reports in the area about a black car approaching children, but nothing confirmed yet, said Officer Davis, adjusting her belt. We'll get in touch with Lucas's mother and take him home. That's when Lucas suddenly looked up, like he remembered something important. My mom, she doesn't know where I am, he said, his voice full of worry. The officer nodded. We're going to call her now, she said, picking up the radio on her shoulder. She began speaking to dispatch, arranging the details. Meanwhile, the gray-haired officer asked Lucas for his mother's phone number. Lucas slowly recited the number, and the officer wrote it down before dialing. The phone rang a few times before a woman's voice answered. Hello? The officer spoke calmly. Ma'am, this is Officer Mitchell from the Las Vegas Police Department. We're with your son Lucas. He's safe. On the other end of the line, the sound of relieved crying came through. Oh my God, my baby. Where is he? What happened? The officer smiled at Lucas. He's fine. We're going to bring him home safely. Can we meet you there? The officer asked. Yes. I'm on my way, the woman said, still crying with relief. When the call ended, Lucas exhaled deeply, his body relaxing like a weight had been lifted off his shoulders. Keanu gave a small smile. See? All sorted out. Lucas looked up at Keanu and without warning, he threw himself into Keanu's arms for a tight hug. Keanu was caught off guard for a moment but quickly wrapped his arms around the boy. He could feel Lucas's relief in the hug. Officer Davis smiled at the scene. I think he found a hero today, she said softly. Keanu smiled softly and ruffled Lucas's hair. You're the hero. You ran at just the right time. The police helped Lucas into the cruiser. As they were about to drive away, Lucas looked back and waved at Keanu. Thank you, Keanu, he called out. Keanu waved back and said, Take care of your mom, champ. The police car drove away and Keanu watched it until the lights disappeared in the distance. He let out a long breath he didn't realize he was holding. Everything had turned out okay, or almost. Keanu looked at the road again and the black car was still on his mind. He didn't know who was inside, but something told him that this story wasn't over yet. Lucas was safe and on his way home, but Keanu still felt like something wasn't right. Could the person who tried to take Lucas still be nearby? Keanu stood in the parking lot, watching the police car disappear into the distance. Lucas was safe now, but his mind kept going back to that black car. The street was busy with cars, trucks, and people driving while looking at their phones. Everything seemed normal, but Keanu's instincts told him something wasn't right. He took a deep breath, ran his hand through his hair, and decided it was time to leave. He climbed onto his motorcycle, put on his helmet, and started the engine. Just as he was about to pull out of the parking lot, his phone buzzed in his jacket pocket. Keanu frowned, stopped the bike and pulled out his phone. An unknown number was calling. He hesitated for a moment before answering. "Hello," he said. A woman's voice, trembling with emotion, came through the phone. "Mr. Reeves, this is Sarah, Lucas's mom. I just wanted to thank you. My son is here with me. He told me everything. If it weren't for you, I don't even want to think about what could have happened." Keanu smiled, feeling relieved hearing her voice. "I'm just glad he's okay, Sarah. He's a smart kid. He ran at the right time." Sarah took a deep breath, still sounding scared. "Yes, but there's something I need to tell you." Keanu's heart skipped a beat. "What is it?" Sarah hesitated, then spoke quickly. "I think I know who tried to take my son. I recognize that black car." Keanu's blood ran cold. "What? Are you sure?" "Yes," Sarah said. "It passed by my house a few times. I thought it was just a coincidence, but now, it's someone from our neighborhood." Keanu felt his grip tighten on the motorcycle's handlebars. If Sarah was right, that meant the person who tried to take Lucas wasn't a stranger. It was someone who knew Lucas and had been waiting for the right moment. "Sarah, have you told the police yet?" Keanu asked quickly. "Not yet, but I can describe the car and I think I remember part of the license plate." Keanu knew this was very important. "All right, listen to me. Call the police right now and give them every detail you can remember. Stay safe, Sarah. Keep Lucas inside the house for now." Sarah agreed and hung up. Keanu stood still for a moment, feeling a mix of anger and worry. If the person was from the neighborhood, they might try again. That's when something caught his eye. He glanced at his motorcycle's rearview mirror. Across the street, a black car was parked, not moving. Keanu couldn't see the driver, but he knew it was the same car. Keanu slowly turned his body to face the car. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then, the black car suddenly drove away, speeding into traffic and disappearing among the other cars. Keanu narrowed his eyes. That wasn't a coincidence. Someone had been watching him. Keanu knew he had to do something about it. The person who tried to take Lucas might be someone close to his family. Keanu stared at the empty road where the car had disappeared. He could just go on with his life now. Lucas was safe and the police were handling the case. But Keanu couldn't ignore the feeling that there was more to this. What if other kids were in danger? Keanu closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He knew what he had to do. News about Lucas's case spread fast. People were amazed to hear that Keanu Reeves helped a young boy escape from a potential kidnapping. It even made the news. But for Keanu, it wasn't about being famous. It was about making a real difference. Keanu had several talks with Sarah and other parents in the neighborhood. Together, they started a campaign to teach people about child safety. At first, it was just a few small meetings, but soon the police and many families joined the cause. They started holding events in schools, parks, and community centers. They taught kids how to stay safe, what to do if they felt in danger, and how to ask for help. Keanu wasn't just there because he was famous. He was there talking to parents, talking to kids, listening to their stories, and sharing what he had learned. Sarah and Lucas were always around. Lucas, now more confident, even spoke at one of the events. He told the crowd how he ran away from the man in the black car and encouraged other kids to always ask for help if they ever felt unsafe. Keanu looked at the crowd of parents, kids, and police officers. He smiled at Lucas, who waved back at him. Lucas wasn't the scared little boy anymore. He understood the importance of his story. Keanu took a deep breath. He didn't know if they would ever catch the man in the black car, but he knew that he had done his part to make the world a little bit safer. And in the end, that was what really mattered. If you enjoyed this story, share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories filled with adventure, mystery, and excitement. Your support means the world and it helps keep these stories coming. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.